Hi there, everybody. Angie here. Welcome to my home. We are going to do a little practice by the fire today. That's sort of a wake up, stretch all the different parts of the body. Nice counter for sitting, all around sort of energizing practice. But I just want to say before we get started, and thank you, Susie, for the request. I always love all the requests that I get from you and everybody else. So thank you. Keep them coming. Before we get started, I just want to say this practice is a little bit stronger. It's quite a bit stronger. So really listen to your body. If you've got any things going on, if you are, if your back is a little bit tentative, just be very, 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 very on the cautious side. This is really a practice that if you're just feeling really strong and you want to get moving a little bit more, this is what you can do. Okay, so let's get started. So if you've been sitting at your desk, if you've been sitting for a long period of time, there's lots of things you can do still sitting at your desk. One of the things that happens when we're sitting a long time is the hip flexors get shortened. So we're going to do a lot of opening of the front body. Opening of the front body too also energizes and is a really good antidote for things like depression. So obviously, well, most of us know that the more we're like curled forward and slumped forward and folded forward, the lower our energy feels. One of the reasons for that is because when we're curled forward, we're getting less air. There's less space for our lungs to fill up and energize us with oxygen, right? So this practice is all about getting oxygen to the brain and refreshing and renewing and energizing a little bit. Okay, so if you're sitting on the floor or in your desk, you can do a little bit of warm up in the upper body that just sort of starts to get the energy moving and flowing in the upper body. So what we're going to do is as you inhale, as you breathe in through the nose, just take your arms up overhead, reaching the arms up just to where it's comfortable. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down through the center line of the body to the heart. I'm going to do that 3 more times. You're inhaling through the nose. And you can either exhale through the nose or through the mouth as you like. Eyes can be open or closed. Just go ahead and do that 2 more times. I totally need this practice today too, Susie, so thank you for suggesting it. Inhaling and reaching up. And you're just breathing at the slow end of what's comfortable for your breath. Could be faster or slower. Good. And then here we're going to interlace the fingers, press the palms forward, squeeze the belly in and round the back. So I'm drawing the navel in towards the spine. I am rounding the back and dropping my chin down towards my chest. And then as you inhale, stretch the arms up, so lengthening the side body. And then exhale and float the hands down. And again, you can be exhaling out the nose or out the mouth. So you inhale, bring the hands to the heart. Exhale, squeeze the belly, press the palms forward, drop the chin. Inhale and stretch up, lengthening the side body. We're self-lengthening the spine here. And then as you exhale, floating the hands down. Good. We'll go ahead and do that 1 more time. Inhaling, hands to the heart. Exhaling, pressing palms forward. Inhale and reaching arms up. Exhale and floating hands down. Good. I'm going to take the fingertips behind you. So if you're on a chair, you can just sit at the front edge of your chair, bring your hands behind your back onto the back of the chair, and just start to lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. Take a couple of big breaths into the front body here. So a big part of this sort of getting the blood flowing again and getting the energy moving, or what we call prana in yoga, is about moving the spine. Yeah, so when we move the spine, we get the energy pumping through the spine. And this tends to refresh our brains as well because the oxygen can reach the brain. Okay, so let's come into tabletop on hands and knees. Now I've got carpet underneath my mat here, and you may be on a hard floor, so take care of the knees if you want a blanket fold to put underneath the knees. Other things that can happen here too, just little modifications to help you guys out. You might have a blanket under the knees. Also your hands, so if your wrists are tender here or any weight bearing on the hands is a little bit too much, just go ahead and drop your elbows down or put your elbows on blocks or books, right? And then we're just going to do a little cat-cow here. So again, as you exhale, rounding the back, pulling the belly in and up, head comes down. Inhale, lifting the head, dropping the belly. And I'm doing this on forearms, but yours on hands will be exhaling, pulling the belly in, rounding the back. And then inhaling and letting the belly hang down, lifting the head. So we're flexing and extending the spine here. And you want to be very cautious if you have low back issues. When you do your sway back cow, you might just do more neutral spine like this rather than letting the belly hang way down, because that destabilizes the low back. So let's just go ahead and do a few more rounds like that. Exhaling and pulling the belly in, rounding the spine. Inhaling to neutral spine, or say sinking the belly down. It's up to you. We'll do that a few more times with breath. Exhaling and rounding. Inhaling and centering here. Neutral or sway back cow. Okay. And then let's go back to neutral spine. We're going to curl the toes under. So toes are curled under. We're going to sit back on the heels because this is going to give us a little bit of a stretch in the feet. And that can be quite intense for some people. So just take what you need from that. If it's too much, if you're like, whoo, my toes are tight, they're on fire, they're super stiff, then you want to ease into this really slowly. So some of us, when we come into this, it's like, whoa, that is a strong sensation. So what you want to do is just take a few breaths and release it anytime you need to. So if you need to come out of it and tap out the feet, this gets the blood flow into the feet too, yeah? So you can do it a couple times. You can sitting back, you can put as much weight into the heels as you like. Or if this is really intense for you, you might be lifting the hips up and just sort of adjusting how much pressure you're putting in to the toes, getting a stretch. So what happens over time, our toes, especially when they're scrunched into shoes for a long time, they start to like lose their ability to feel. They start to lose their ability to be feet, right? Like if we were to walk around all the time in bare feet, our feet would be much more alive and much more effective, and they wouldn't start to get sort of like these dead spots, like where the energy's not flowing, basically. It's not circulating. So we're just getting the circulation into those toes there. And then we're going to go ahead and come into downward dog. So you can bring your hands about shoulder width apart. Spread your fingers as wide as they go, right? So not fingers together, but fingers wide. And then your forefingers, they're going to be parallel to each other when you put your hands down. So the forefingers parallel to each other. The forefingers are pointing straight forward. Be aware of having the hands too close together. You want them at least shoulder width apart. And my pinky fingers and ring fingers, they hang off the side of the mat. So don't worry about if you're on the mat or you're not. Mat size is arbitrary. Somebody in the factory originally, they just cut it to whatever size, and it's not actually, doesn't mean anything. So if your fingers go off the mat, no problem. Then your knees are underneath your hips. You curl your toes under. Press the tips of your fingers into the mat a little bit until you see the nail beds turn white. That takes pressure off the wrists as well. Now, if this is too much for the wrists, you can always do like a forearm version, which is a lot stronger for the shoulders. And we're going to go ahead and lift the hips up. Now, if you're doing the full downward dog, shifting the hips up, and then we're going to alternately bend one knee at a time. So lots of great things happen when we do downward dog. What we get is an inversion where the head is below the heart, and you have that extra oxygen and blood flow coming to the brain, which is really refreshing to the brain. It also stretches the legs, right? So if you've been sitting for a while, it's just really, really a beautiful pose. I would say that if someone said, if I can take a 1 minute yoga break when I'm at work at my desk, downward dog would be the one thing I would tell them to do. So we're just pedaling the legs from side to side. And you also want to make sure that your shoulders, I'm just going to show you shoulders here. So make sure that your shoulders are on your back. And what I mean by that is, some people will stack their shoulders up by their ears. What you want to do is bend your elbows and let your shoulders come onto your back. Keep the shoulders onto the back away from the ears, and then slowly straighten the arms. So it's sort of like you're bringing the inner part of the elbow, turning the inner part of the elbow forward towards the front of the mat. Anyways, that's just a little tricky tip. So The second thing I'd tell people to do if we were going to do a 1-minute yoga break is to do a forward bend. So you can go ahead and walk your feet up to the top of the mat. Just kind of check it out. If you feel lightheaded or dizzy, you're welcome to bend your knees and rest your elbows on your thighs. And again, those of us with low back issues are going to bend our knees anyways, because that makes a nice flat back rather than locking the legs straight and then having this rounding in the low back. As most of you know, puts a ton of pressure on the low back discs. The back likes to be in a more neutral position, which keeps the natural curves of your lumbar spine. It doesn't love to be have the natural curves flattened out. That puts a lot of extra pressure on the spine. So even if you rest your elbows on the thighs, lift the head above the heart, and just take a couple of breaths here. And again, you can let the whole body hang if you want to, with a little bit of bent knees here. You can sway the torso or turn the neck and head a little side to side. So what we're getting here again is head below the heart, refreshing oxygen to the brain. All right, so then from here, we're going to bring hands to the hips, look forward and inhale all the way up with a flat back. And we're squeezing the belly, coming all the way up. We're going to do a little bit of flow here. So with your feet parallel, hip distance apart, you can go ahead and reach arms up as you inhale. Hold on to your right wrist, pull your right wrist up, and then exhale and lean to the left side. And just squeezing the belly in here, keeping the legs straight. We'll inhale back to center. Change sides, hold the left wrist, exhale to the right side. I'm not really sure if I'm doing opposite of you or not here, so inhaling center. Keep breathing here. Anytime you take your arms up overhead, it's going to be energizing, right? It raises our blood pressure, it gets the blood flowing. So then we're going to do a little bit of a swan dive. So as you exhale, float the hands out to the side, squeeze the belly in, and forward fold. Back to our forward bend. And as you inhale, lift up halfway. Hands can come to the knees, looking forward. Exhale and fold down. Squeeze the belly in and inhale, reverse swan dive. Come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands to the heart. And we'll do that again. We'll inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, flat back, squeeze the belly, swan dive all the way down. Inhale, look up halfway. Hands to the knees, draw the shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale and fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Reach arms all the way up. Squeezing the belly all the way up and all the way down. Exhaling, hands to heart. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, swan dive. Forward fold. So again, we're getting that movement, that flow, stimulating oxygen. Inhaling, half lift, looking forward. Exhale and fold. Again, bending knees as much as you want. Inhale, reverse swan dive. So bending knees at all times when you're in forward bend, exhaling, hands to the heart. If you have low back issues, bend the knees. Yeah, squeeze the belly, engage the core. Okay. So then I'd like to, I have a great idea. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to stand sideways on your mat and turn the toes out about 45 degrees. You guys are going to love this one. If you haven't been in class with me for a while, this is the whole reason that you come to classes, so that you can do these crazy ones. We're going to do bear pose. So turn the toes out about 45 degrees. Take your arms out to the sides and just sort of guess that your wrists are right over your ankles. Yeah, so that's the distance approximately that your feet are apart. If your feet are too close together, when you bend your knees and sit down, it's not going to feel good in the knees. So one of the things that happens when we sit down into God or Goddess pose is that the knees want to collapse in. Like we do this. We drop the hips down and we roll onto the inner part of the arch. What I want you to do is something different. I want you to try lifting your toes up, taking your hands onto your thighs, and try to keep the knees as wide as possible. You can use your hands to roll the tops of the thighs out as you drop your spine straight down, kind of like a rod. Now we're still breathing. Don't forget to breathe slow and smooth and long. We're going to keep the toes lifted, and sometimes you feel like you're going to fall back when you do this. So then we're going to do a couple up and down with breath. So inhale and we'll stand up. Exhale and sit down, keeping the shoulders back, opening the knees wide, not letting them roll in. Inhale to stand up. Exhale to sit down. And you can go as deep as you want. It could be just a little bend or it could be a big one. Inhale to stand up, exhale to sit down. Good, and then we're going to stand up all the way again. Good, so keep that in mind when you bend your knees and you sit down into that God or Goddess pose. Try to keep the knees wide. Don't let them roll in. Just keep them as wide as you can. Okay, so now we're going to do bear pose, and I'll do one to show you and entertain you. So it's like lion pose, but we're going to add in the sitting down here that we were just doing. So what you do is you take your hands up, you spread your fingers. Now if you've got animals or babies in the room, this might scare them or freak them out. But it's kind of fun, and it's really good for removing negative energy and increasing a sense of well-being. So hurrah for that, right? So you're going to look up through the top of your head. You're going to stick out your tongue and growl like this. And we sit down into that. So this is bear pose. So go ahead, take your hands up. We're going to do it together, super fun. Look up through the top of your head. Inhale and growl. Stick out your tongue. Good, we'll do 3 more. Inhale. Keep looking up. Inhale. Good, inhale again. Remember to stick out your tongue, looking up. Good, 1 more. Inhale. Good, and then we're going to stay here in Goddess pose. You're going to stay here in Goddess pose and breathe. That lion breath is also really good for the glottis, toning the throat. It's awesome for that. Hold, 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 breathe, smile. Okay, so that Goddess pose is so good too for preventing sleep apnea. So if you wake up in the night like that, gasping for air, that's a really, really helpful move for that. All right, so let's try a little balancing pose. Balancing is really, really great for memory and concentration. So you can go ahead and come to standing with your feet about hip distance apart. You can spread the toes on. I'm going to do my right foot. Doesn't matter. You can do whichever side. And just bring the other foot to the inside of the ankle. Move into tree pose. Draw the belly in and grow tall through the crown. You can bring hands to the heart if you like. You can slide the foot up to the ankle if you want, to the calf, or even up to the thigh. And just keeping your gaze steady on one point. Drawing yourself up nice and tall. And try pressing the hips forward a little bit. Nice long deep breaths here. Hello, Bella. And then we'll release and try the other side. You can bring that other foot down, spread the toes. That makes your foot bigger so you've got more surface area, better chance of not falling over. And just remember, it's okay to fall over. It's part of the fun. So don't worry if you do topple in your pose. You can always just pause, gain your composure, and start again. So we'll bring the other foot to the ankle. Check that that foot is straight up and down and it's not wrapping around the foot. This will give you more stability. So think about the foot that's on the leg being perpendicular straight up and down. You can bring it to the calf if you want. Draw the belly in, grow tall. Find your breath. Keep your gazing steady on one point. You can stay there if you want to, or you can bring the foot up to the thigh. Continuing to breathe. I've got somebody in the kitchen making food and banging around in there, so if you hear noise, that's what it is. You can't always practice with no distractions. There's always some stuff going on. So you can release, come back, and we're going to make our way into a warrior 2 pose. So you can take the left foot forward, right foot back. Check that the front foot is pointing straight forward and the back foot's parallel to the back of the mat. Again, these standing poses are energizing and get the blood flowing as well. So you can press the outer edge of the back foot down and keep the back leg nice and straight. And then we'll take the arms up towards about parallel to the floor. You can bend your front knee in line with your second toe. So when you look through the gaze, through your knee, through your vision from your eyes, through your knee, it's going to meet with the second toe, this invisible line. And then we're going to flow a little bit here with breath. So as you inhale, go ahead and take the hands up overhead. So the hips are facing to the side. Inhale, arms reaching up. Exhale and bring the hands down. Bring the left elbow to left thigh. And then inhale, bring the right arm up alongside the ear. And exhale, bring the arm all the way back down. And when you inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, bring the arms down, elbow on the knee. And then inhale, bring the right arm up alongside the ear. It's a side bend. Exhale and bring the arms down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down. Elbow on the knee. Inhale, reach the right arm alongside the ear. Keep breathing here. This time we're going to release the hands down to the mat. And lift the back heel. Lower the back knee down and come into a nice little lunge here. So you can have hands on the floor if you want to. You can even bring hands up to the knee. This is part of the back health program, so we're getting a little psoas stretch here. So this is the part that gets really chronically tight from sitting a lot. So you can allow your hips to shift all the way forward and just make sure that your front knee is on top of your front ankle so that the knee is not further forward. And then what we're going to do here is take hands to the hips. And we're going to just come out of our lunge a little bit. And we're going to try to press the hips forward a little bit. Notice that the hips can swing back or they can swing forward. So this sort of action of swinging back and then forward. We're going to swing the hips forward and pull the belly in and up. Hello, Bella. And you'll be feeling this little stretch here in the psoas. We're going to stay for a little bit here. Let's take a twist. So you can bring your right hand to your knee, left hand to the hip. Relax your shoulders and breathe. We'll untwist, take hands back down to the mat. You can step back through hands and knees if you want, or downward dog. So I'm going to do the hands and knees transition. Sliding that foot back, bringing the right foot forward. We can lift the back knee up, bring the back heel down. Inhale, bring arms up to warrior two. And so then again, same thing, front foot pointing forward. We've just switched sides, back foot parallel to the back of the mat. Reaching arms forward and back parallel to the floor. We're going to inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, arms down, elbow to the knee. Inhale, left arm alongside the ear. Exhale, hands back down. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, arms down, elbow on the knee. Inhale, arm alongside the ear. Do that one more time. Exhaling, hands down. Inhale, reaching up. And exhaling, elbow to the knee. Inhaling, arm alongside the ear. And then we'll go ahead and float the hand down. Keep breathing. We'll lower the back knee and come into our lunge on this side. So you're welcome to stay low. If you like more points on the ground, you could have hands on blocks or books. You can bring the hands up to the front thigh if you want to. We can sink the tailbone down, the belly in. So instead of sinking the tailbone out, when the hips swing back, you're just dropping the tailbone down and drawing the belly in. You can even take a twist here if you want. Remember to breathe. Smile and relax your shoulders. Okay. So from here, we're going to untwist, come back to center. Slide the foot back to hands and knees. We're going to lower down onto the belly. And just coming down to the ground. We're going to do another back bend here, which is again really good for energizing, sort of picking up our energies. So one of them that you can do is the flying bird from the low back program, which is the arms and legs lifting up on the inhale. So it's like this. Making sure the palms are facing towards the front. So the hands aren't curling back, they're opening with the thumbs pointing up. So you could inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower down. Do flying bird if you want, or if you want a stronger version, only if your low back feels okay, if you're feeling strong and healthy and there's no issues going on. You can have the hands on the ankles or the feet. And before you lift up, if your hands don't reach, do just a hands-free version, yeah? If your hands connect to the feet or the ankles, you're going to press your pubic bone down before you lift up. So on your inhale, pressing pubic bone down and inhaling and lifting the knees and the chest. And then as you exhale, lowering down. Doing that a few times with breath, inhaling to lift up. Make sure that the knees aren't coming too far apart. Keep them sort of close-ish together. And then exhale, lowering down. We'll do one more. Inhale, lifting up. And exhale, coming down. Just come to rest, head on the hands. And just wobble the hips a little side to side. Take a couple deep breaths into the belly. Relaxing the pelvis, the legs and the hips. And we're going to make our way into child's pose. So you can bring the hands under the shoulders, you can curl toes under, squeeze the belly, inhale a little push up, and then exhaling into your nice child's pose there. Remember, your knees can be a little bit apart if you like. Take a couple of breaths. So even like child's pose is a great place to just sort of take a time out. It doesn't invigorate too much. It's very calming, but it gives a nice stretch to the back. So if you've been sitting for a while, even a child's pose would feel good. So a downward dog, a forward bend, a psoas stretch, this lunge. Those are like the 3 essential go-tos that I would give you. Also the standing, leaning to the side, arms up overhead. All that kind of stuff. So we're going to wrap this up, coming to laying down on the back. We'll just do a little bridge pose here. So I'm just adjusting my hair here so that my ponytail is not in the way. Your ankles are underneath your knees, arms down beside the body. We're going to squeeze the belly in here. And then as we inhale, start to lift the hips coming up into our little bridge. As we exhale, slowly rolling back down, vertebra by vertebra. So again, this is a great one for getting energy into the spine. Prana, circulation, blood flow. Again, we're going to inhale and peel the spine up, lifting up into a little back bend, and then as you exhale, rolling all the way back down. And 2 more times with your breath. You'll inhale and roll up. Exhale and roll back down. Making sure all 4 corners of the feet are on the ground, and making sure the knees are under the ankles are under the knees. We'll do a couple more. Feet are about hip distance apart. Keep the head and neck straight when you're doing bridge. I'm trying not to turn mine to the side because it's contraindicated. So you can hold the pose too if you want to, building strength in the legs and the core. One of my favorite poses is bridge pose. Pressing down on the backs of the arms. You can come down anytime you want to rest. Pressing all 4 corners of your feet and breathing. And when you're ready, slowly exhale and come all the way back down. Okay, we'll take the arms out to the sides. You can either do a nice little windshield wiper with the knees, taking the feet wide and just swooshing them slowly side to side. Or if you want to, bringing the knees in and rolling them over to the left for a little twist. So what I just showed you there is a little mini practice that you can do for waking up and getting moving. Feel free to do any of the sections of the practice or just isolated poses, 1 or 2 together instead of the whole series as you find it works for you. Or if you have time, you can do the whole series. So you can roll the knees back to center and over to the other side. Sometimes it feels good to put the hand on the knees. The neck is optional to keep it center. If it allows you to comfortably turn it to the opposite way the knees, you can turn it the opposite way the knees are. Hi, kitty. And after you've given each side a couple of breaths, coming back to the center, and we'll release into a Shavasana. If you have time to do Shavasana, if you're doing this as a full practice, go ahead and lay down with the body straight, arms and legs straight for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and just breathing through the body. Each time you exhale, letting the body melt and settle a little bit deeper. If you're just doing parts of that practice as a little gentle wake-up stretch, you might just do a couple poses to refresh and then get back to whatever it is that you're doing in your day. Even a little yoga break, 2 poses, and any time during the day is better than nothing at all. So just be good to your body, be good to yourself. Have a nice rest, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.